Catherine. Doris. Doris.
We are talking about the movie St. Agatha. This one is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. No stranger to horror, having directed Saw 2, 3 and 4. Now you may be forgiving for thinking this is another haunting nun movie in the line of the kind of the Conjuring 2 that we saw, obviously its own spin-off movie, The Nun. And we've seen a variety of kind of lower budget nun related movies. It really isn't anything like that, to be honest with you. This is really not even a horror to a certain degree. It's more of a kind of a crime thriller to a certain degree, but it's just wrapped up like a horror. So what's the story? Well, it focuses on this young woman called Mary who is pregnant, and she tries to find solace in this out-of-the-way convent. And when she's there, she learns that the Mother Superior, played expertly by Carolyn Hennessy, is an absolute beast who is kind of rules with an iron fist and is unusually cruel. Now, as she's kind of there, she obviously starts to kind of regret her decision to go to this particular convent, but finds she's unable to leave for a variety of reasons. There's a number of other women there who have either had babies or are pregnant, all of which who are in a kind of similar kind of situation to her. So as the movie progresses, obviously we kind of take off more layers and we kind of find out what the real story is here in regards to what the motivations of certain characters are, and all will be kind of come to a head towards the climax, as you'd probably expect. So let's talk St. Agatha. First thing I would say to this movie, this is a slick looking movie. It has a professional kind of sheen to it, so you feel like you're watching a reasonably budgeted, well-made film. Darren Lynn Bousman absolutely has an eye for the dramatic, and some of the shots here are particularly artful. And I've got to say, everything here, from the kind of the set design to the location shooting, all looks perfectly fantastic. It's all kind of set in the 1950s, and it does have that kind of that style with the kind of the hairstyles and things like that, and the clothing and all that. All looks very kind of its time, and certain attitudes obviously will permeate the era as well. I've got to say, I think the acting here is also fairly, it's all good, to be honest with you, from the entire cast. Everyone here does a very good job of portraying these characters. Particularly, like I mentioned, Caroline Hennessy, who I think is really the standout here as the kind of the Mother Superior. There are also some quite gruesome gore moments with this movie that will kind of make you wince. Particularly one comes to mind that is a kind of a protracted kind of scene of torture. Now, having directed the Saw movies, or some of the Saw movies, you'd obviously expect Bousman to have a pedigree in certain torture scenes, and he certainly does. What doesn't work with this movie, I would say the main issues I have here are within the script. Now, the script has 4 credited writers, which I think is possibly the problem here. And why do I have problems with it? I feel some of the characters are not well written in a number of ways. First of all, some of the characters to me seem particularly gullible and dumb. They almost seem a little bit unrealistically kind of stupid to a certain degree in certain aspects of the movie. And as the movie progresses, you don't really know the characters' motivations. I mean, there's a moment in the film, which I won't spoil, where essentially the worm turns, is all I'll say. And yeah, characters' motivations just seem to kind of flip-flop out of nowhere, if you ask me. So I feel that the actual characterizations of certain characters here are really kind of on the poor side. The movie is also maybe a little bit slow at the beginning. Obviously, it picks up as we go along. So I feel the main problem here is probably the script. But I've got to say, what we actually see on screen is a very kind of well-made movie that kind of looks fantastic and is certainly of its time and certainly disturbing. And like I've said, it does have a kind of a horror aesthetic, but what you'll find is it's actually kind of more of a terrestrial kind of threat when it's all kind of said and done, but nonetheless scary for it. So I've got to say, I thought this was a well-made film. It's a shame it was that maybe we could have only had maybe 1 or 2 writers at the most really on this, because I think that's the main problem with it. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.